Hello, my friend, and welcome to Beyond, the personal growth podcast for the people who are healing beyond their conditioning and beyond the cycles that played out before them. My name is Katie Lynn, and with 20 years of experience in the field of psychology and human behavior, I am bringing my natural curiosity, expertise, and personal life experiences here for discussions that are guaranteed to be informative, inspiring, and entertaining. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Today on Beyond, I have a very special guest by the name of Natalie Bullen. We will call her Nat. She is a revenue and wealth coach and former financial advisor dedicated to helping entrepreneurs transform their high revenue businesses into personal and generational wealth. As the founder of Unapologetic Wealth, LLC, Natalie specializes in empowering service-based entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and online service providers to accelerate their revenue through high-ticket sales and premium pricing strategies. Through her signature programs, Natalie helps ambitious women create lasting financial legacies, shattering the belief that wealth is only for the privileged few. If you're ready to turn your business into a vehicle for personal and generational wealth, learn more at unapologeticwealth.com. Nat, it is such a pleasure to have you here on Beyond today. This is an interview that I have been looking forward to greatly because, as I shared before we pressed recording, I have been following you since, I think, the inception point of your business. This woman is incredible. And the reason I say incredible is because your level of transparency, your level of allowing people in on your journey as you've built this wonderful, system and your own company, basically, has been really refreshing in the online space from my perspective. So the first thing I did was, of course, I went down the rabbit hole of your website. I, as a coach myself and somebody who works like in the mindset and in the emotional and in the energetic, I'm always listening for people who like declare who they are in the world and whether that's for better or for worse, right? We're always making declarations. And the first line in your about section was so inspiring to me because you said, I am Natalie Bullen and my mind is always on money. Can you say more about that?
It's true. I feel like women get pushed into the belief that money is last. So they have to follow their purpose and they have to live in their passion. They have to be feminine and demure, but they also need to be smart and funny and interesting, but they need to help everybody and care about everyone. They need to be available to those people. And then maybe 20 scrolls down, they get paid. And I happen to know from doing over 100 financial literacy seminars in schools all over the state of Alabama that boys are not conditioned that way. They are not conditioned to choose whether they get to enjoy something and whether it gets to be high paid. And they get steered into higher earning professions. And if you're listening to this and you don't believe that, I want you to ask yourself if you know any white male CNAs, nurse assistants. Do you know any white male kindergarten teachers? Do you know any white male social workers? If you can't name one, you have proven my point. We get steered into low earning businesses.
Yep.
So, people say, Natalie, you talk about money too much. Somebody's got to.
And I'm so grateful that you're taking on that charge because even as a woman who's in business, right? And I've been in business since 2018. And I've always been drawn to entrepreneurship, always been drawn to just let me create something. I'm a terrible employee. I'm going to be honest about that. I absolutely do not tie me to a desk. I will be miserable.
I'm a great employee.
And I will build something from that desk. You're going to be annoyed by me because I'll be building something from that desk. But I remember growing up middle class, right? My parents were blue collar, they were in management and things like that, but they worked for Pacific Bell, if you remember Pacific Bell when it existed. And they did okay. But there was this subtle conditioning, right? I remember, it's such a vivid memory. I remember getting on the freeway before school one day and we had this car. We never had a new car, right? We always had like a used car or an older car. Like the philosophy was you drive your car until the wheels fall off because they're a terrible investment. I remember getting on the freeway with my mom. We were going to school and I saw a Mercedes drive by and I was probably 9 or 10 at the time. And I was like, Mom, I want that car when I get older. And the response was, Katie, old people drive those cars. And I was like thinking to myself, like, that's such a strange response. Like, what does she mean old people drive those cars? But the mentality at that time was you don't make your money and you don't have money until you're older because you spend your younger years working really hard for it. And like you have to work hard and you have to struggle. And then if you're lucky, you get a job that has a pension that will pay you out when you retire. And then when you retire, you can have those luxuries.
If then,
maybe, right?
Yeah.
So like it's kind of out of your hands, right? It's this game where like if you give it enough, which is what I heard you say, like around the like you got to give of yourself, you got to show up, you got to, over deliver all the time, which I am a fan of over delivery if it's from the overflow, and
most people have no overflow.
Yes. And then fast forward, right? I'm 20. I'm painting a picture of the wealth consciousness that is just really so subtle. I put the Mercedes on my vision board because it never left. And at 30, I think I reviewed my numbers and I was like, I can actually afford it. Like I can go say yes to this. And then I remember my dad telling him, because I was a single mom at that time. And he said to me, Katie, I don't know if it's a good idea for you to get that car because it might be dangerous for you. You might attract too much attention and it's just you. And it's like these subtle things that women, right? Like he's not going to say that to my brother.
Right.
But it's these kind of subtle things that are like, oh, he's looking out for me. And I'm so grateful for that. But how many times was this messaging dropped into my space and maybe my conscious mind didn't receive it, but my subconscious mind did.
Right. And started to behave a certain way because it believed these things. It's real. It happens. And to be fair, I had an expensive car in my younger years and a boy that I wouldn't go on a date with stole it.
What?
So it actually did draw a lot of attention to me and it actually was a really bad idea.
No way.
My mom let me drive her Cadillac. It was more trouble than it was worth. Boys would try to flirt with girls and they would lean on my car to pretend like it was theirs.
It was their car.
Yeah, and then the car actually got stolen. You know what?
That's so my dad has a point, huh?
Your parents might have saved you from a lot of BS because that Cadillac was more trouble than it was worth. It really
wow.
It really was. And then it got stolen again and totaled. It was a lot. That car went through hell. I said, maybe I don't need a luxury car. I think I'll just buy a Corolla.
A Corolla, yeah, something simple.
So we went from a Cadillac
from A to B
to a Corolla because I was like, no one's gonna steal this. This is like a zero theft kind of car.
So that is hilarious. When we talk about business, because there's another angle that you bring up around business that I don't think it's considered, and that is using business to build wealth. And I think that sounds kind of funny to think that people would get into business or a woman would get into business and not consider the long-term wealth. But I think so many women get into business and we get into the weeds of business and we're not thinking 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, or for a long-term plan. How do you deal with that?
I think that it's important for women to give themselves grace because if you have never been rich and you didn't grow up affluent and you don't consider yourself affluent now, then it makes sense why you wouldn't wake up and think, you know what, I'm going to start this business and we're going to be the Waltons. Mm-hmm. Did Sam Walton know that they were going to be the Waltons? No. So it's okay if you didn't start day one of your business with the torch lit for, I'm going to make myself mega rich with this thing. But I do think it's important for you to ask yourself, why do I need more money? What is the mission that we serve? Who do we help and why do we do it? And what are we about for what reason? Because if you really are a world changer, it takes capital to get anything done. Mm-hmm. That's just the truth. So I don't care what your mission is. I don't care if it's helping babies in other countries, if it's teaching children to read, if it's giving salsa lessons, if it's helping people who've been in domestic abuse situations, if it's making sure that people's eyebrows are permanently tattooed, whatever you do, if you decide you want to help a large number of people, you have to have resources. So what I
Mm-hmm.
want to create is well-resourced businesses, because 90% of businesses that go out of business in the first 7 years cite lack of capital or lack of growth as the reason why. So they run out of money and they run out of sales.
Yeah.
That's why. So if you know that God put you here to do a certain thing for a certain number of people, you know that you need resources. So let's stop pretending like it doesn't matter if your business makes a lot of money. Like, let's just stop pretending. Let's stop lying like you can make it on $2,000 a month. I can't make it on $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
We have payroll.
Yeah.
So I know that my business will have to be large to handle the mantle that I have. And frankly, I deserve for that business to make me rich. I'm taking all the risk. I'm making all the sales. I'm doing all the marketing. I show up. I create the programs. I do most of the fulfillment. I hire the team. I have an accountant. I'm the one that's taking time away from my partner who I actually love and like. I'm the one who's sitting in my room on Zoom right now in the middle of this podcast instead of cooking him dinner. I'm working instead of, catering to my mom and taking her shopping so she can have a wonderful birthday photo shoot next month. This is a sacrifice. Why don't I deserve to reap the benefit of it? Why should my business be rich and me be poor? What sense does that make? I'm the leader. How can I lead from behind? And I meet people who are paying their team more than they pay themselves. So you're a follower in your own business then, because you can't possibly be the leader if you're not out in front. Two, I think that we should focus on wealth building, because great things happen when women have more money. And you don't have to struggle in business. You can set up your business exactly how corporate. So my first goal for my business was to duplicate my bank salary. I work for one of the largest banks in the country, but because I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, and the cost of living is lower, my salary was lower. So I made $51,000 a year in corporate. I had a 401k with a 3% match and other assorted benefits. So my first goal was to make enough to convert to an S corp and put myself on payroll of $51,000 a year. I set up a 401k with guideline. So I get paid like clockwork every month. And I have a 401k that is growing just like corporate. That was my first goal. If you're doing worse in your business than you were doing in corporate, something is wrong. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be a period of sacrifice. I didn't start day one raking in the money. But we did do 110K the first year. Like, it wasn't a zero.
Fantastic.
So I hear people tell me, I tell that number, people are like, really? And I was working a full-time job. So like, it doesn't have to be nothing. You don't have to make $2,000 a month. You don't have to pay your team all of your money and fight with your husband, fight with your partner. I've had clients who came to me and were like, you saved my marriage. Because by becoming a CEO who has a fiduciary duty to my business to make money, I spend my time differently, and I can contribute to the household, and I can spend more time with the kids. I had a client who was paying $12,000 in payroll. Zero of it went to her. And her husband was having to pick the kids up and drop the kids off and take them to all their events because she was working until midnight. And I'm like, what are you working on until midnight if the business can't pay you? Why would you be giving full-time hours and you're not even drawing a part-time paycheck?
You're a volunteer.
You're a volunteer.
Yeah.
In your own business. I could never. I have too much ego. Maybe it's because I'm not a mom. I'm not a mom. Let me give a disclosure. And I feel like sometimes when people become mothers, they're like, I need to give or do. I don't have a maternal instinct. So I'm just like, damn that, I deserve to get paid. So where's my paycheck? And I think that's a powerful place to be in, because it gives you the space to experiment and to try things and have your nervous system be regulated to where you can actually go do the thing. When your money and your business is messed up, you're just so stressed that nothing works. Your launches flop. Your emails have typos. I mean, everything goes off the cliff. You hire badly. You're in a desperate state, and it grows. And take it from me, the stress from businesses will put you in the hospital. It's really scary. And only stress I've had in my business was when I didn't focus on making more money. Now that I focus on making money every single day, there is surprisingly little stress in my company. Go figure.
Go figure. I hope everybody listening just rewinds this and listens to this section again, at least, because I am a mom. I have a 13-year-old and a 3-year-old. One of the things that was very clear to me through my prayer and just communication with God was, do not hide behind your children. It's a disservice for you to even think that everybody else should eat metaphorically before you do. In the world of a well woman, everybody wins. And I firmly believe that, right? Because now you're getting paid. So now you're making payroll for everyone. I heard you say, I have too much ego. There's a healthy ego. There's a healthy ego that says, if I can stand for me, then I can stand for everyone in my world. And that creates a lot of safety. And one of the most profound things I ever heard about sales was this idea, because I think sales is a tough thing for women too. I think a lot of women really wrestle with that, of the ask, of the let me show you what I have, of believing that sales is a service and a really beautiful service. But one of my mentors said to me, Katie, everything that's ever been really wonderful about your life is a result of sales. For your birthday parties, somebody sold you that cake, somebody sold you those presents, somebody sold you those party favors, somebody sold you, your parents, that car when you were, ready to drive, somebody sold you that education that has paid off tenfold for you. Somebody sold, like, everything that you can look back on and say, that was amazing, right? The wedding dress, the setup so that you could have a baby shower and all that kind of stuff. Like, somebody sold you on that and made a profit. So how can I honestly, with integrity, say that sales or sales activity is negative when everything, this microphone, this computer, this internet service that I pay for creates something magical for me every single day?
I think it's because most people have an incorrect definition of the word sales, because most of us have had a bad sales experience. I remember when I bought my Galant in 2007, after the Cadillac, after the Toyota that I totaled out freshman year in college, at what I perceived was a malfunctioning traffic light, but that's neither here nor there. The insurance company didn't agree with that, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And so I drove to I caught the Greyhound bus to Mobile because I couldn't drive because my car was sold. So I caught the Greyhound bus to Mobile. It's 5 hours away. It took me 8 hours on the bus on a Friday. I had to buy the car on a Saturday and drive back to Huntsville on Sunday because I had to be back at work on Sunday and I had to have class on Monday because I worked 2 jobs in college. So I had 1 day to buy a car. If you ever bought a car on a deadline, it's a bad, bad idea. So I get to the car lot. And he's like, what color do you want? What car do you want? What do you like? I'm like, bro, I ain't got time for this. I just need a car. This is the most I could pay. My grandfather's going to co-sign. My grandfather's old school. He said, Natalie, I don't want to sit there and talk to this guy. Call me when they're ready to sign the paperwork and I'll come down and sign the paperwork. I don't want to spend even 30 minutes in that dealership. So me and my mom, we doing the legwork. He gets me in this Mitsubishi Galant, tells me all types of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's got a sunroof and it's got fancy wheels. It's a one of a kind. It's a rare model. I'm like, you're BS.
It's a Galant.
It's a Galant. Everybody got this car. But I said, you know what? Whatever lie he got to tell me to sell it, I'm with it. Okay. Do the deal, call my grandfather, get a good price on it. As I'm walking out, the guy has the keys. He drops it in my hand and he goes, congrats on your new car. This car has no floor mats. It comes with only 1 key and it burns premium gas. Enjoy.
Oh my gosh.
And because of the order of the universe, even though I had been through 4 cars in less than 2 years, that car made it 12 years and almost 250,000 miles.
Of course it did.
Of course it did. And so I say this to say most people have had a sales experience like mine, where a salesperson knowingly withheld pertinent key information that would have affected their decision, because no way would a 19-year-old college student have chosen willingly a car that burns premium gas.
Yeah.
I was making minimum wage. That's not what I would have bought had I known that. Fun fact, it actually was an unusual model. It had different size tires. It had different size head bulbs. It was a nightmare for 11 years getting parts for that car. It actually was a special, unique trim of Galant. He actually wasn't lying.
He wasn't lying.
The one thing that he told me the truth about was the thing I didn't believe. And the stuff I needed to know was the stuff he didn't tell me. Hot mess. Okay. So most people believe sales to be some form of manipulation. It's some form of lie. because they have been lied to in order to get money. So that's why people see sales in that light. I encourage everybody, every human being, to read a book by Daniel Pink. It's called To Sell is Human. And it talks about how we're always selling all the time. You sold me on getting on this podcast. Someone sold you on that beautiful blush that you're wearing. Somebody sold you on the idea of putting on makeup at all.
Yep.
That was an idea that you bought into, right?
Yep.
Have more hair care than anybody. Well, somebody sold me on the idea of going natural and stop chemically straightening my hair. Like, that belief was sold on to me.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. Your kids sell you on eating ice cream instead of
my 3-year-old sells me all the time.
Exactly. We're born to be salespeople, and then we get talked out of it. Somewhere down the line, we get told that it's just like our innocence. It's just like our truth. Ask a 4-year-old how you look in an outfit and get your feelings hurt. Mommy, you have rolls. Your belly is squishy. You don't look good in that. Mommy, you look big. Mommy, what's wrong with your eyebrow? You wait. Okay. Wait. My little nephew is like 6. That thing will tell you the truth. Okay. JC will tell you the absolute truth. And you don't like it? Oh, well, because he's not capable of lying. He has not taught that yet. We teach children that the truth is inappropriate and that they need to maybe be a little nicer, show a little empathy, tell a little white lie. And you wonder how you get these sociopaths when they're 25. It's because we taught them to lie. It's the same thing with sales. Children know what they want. They ask for what they want because they have not been trained otherwise. We train people. It's pushy to do that. It's rude to do that. It's too forward. Don't do that. And eventually they turn into women who are terrified to promote their services and wonder why there's no money coming in. I have a masterclass in like 6 days, and I've been sending emails and DMs and doing all the things. And I made a post today, which I still think is hilarious. And the caption says, people promote less, me buy faster. We're like a here. 2 people bought. Wow. Now, am I saying that post made them buy? No, the post reminded them that they already wanted to buy it because they had seen it. But like, what would happen to my masterclass if I didn't promote it?
Yes.
No one would show up.
Yes.
You know, and if people don't show up, then how can I achieve my vision? The vision for Unapologetic Wealth is to help women create high revenue businesses so that they can have personal and generational wealth. But if I don't tell you what I sell or what I do or how you can buy, then how will you ever achieve the mission of the company? What is the point in having a vision if we're not doing anything to move towards it? And so that's why I'm like, hands down, like, get you some KPIs, get some things that you can like track just to make sure you're on the right path. And go back to your gift. I don't post every day for me. I know what I'm going to say. I know what's in my mind. Trust me, it's not for me. I post because someone in my audience needs to see it. They need to double their revenue. They need to sell more, better, faster to more sophisticated clients who don't require so much hand holding or renege on payment plans or refuse to give testimonials even though they got great results. I want people to invest in the stock market because it's the only truly passive income that exists. Courses are not passive income.
No, they're not.
I don't care what these course people keep telling you. And I spend more time marketing my course than delivering my high ticket stuff. I mean, it is not, unless you got a dialed in funnel and paid ads and stuff, that's not passive. It's not. You deserve time off. Wouldn't it be nice to say, you know what, I want to take 3 whole months off, not work at all, spend time with my husband, spend time with my kids, and not lose $1 in the process. And I think if we're being honest, we all want that. And anyone saying they want to work, like you said, they've been conditioned that the only way they can make money is to work and to work hard. So they tell you they want to work hard because they think that's what they have to do. But I would wager that anybody in a relationship or with children or who loves themselves and their solace, because I was a happy single, I was a happy child-free single, would love to take a few weeks off or a few months off with pay. At least that's the lie people say when they work a job. When people work a job, they love PTO. I don't know what happens when they start their own business. All of a sudden, their team. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
People quit their job because it doesn't give enough PTO, then start a business and not take a day off for 2 years.
For sure. Well, I think there's deeper stuff that's happening there for sure, because my clientele has the opposite issue where they're hiding in business. So that's the place.
My folks want to hide. I just
you know,
I just harass them until they come out of hiding.
Yeah, it's like they've made the money, right? Yep. Most of the women that I help, they've got at least one company, if not multiples. They're doing 7 to 8 figures a year. They're doing very well, financially, from a financial perspective. And our work is, can you be present in your personal life? Because there's a fire blazing, or multiple fires blazing in your personal life, but you keep coming back to business because business makes you feel competent and capable. It's true. You are competent and capable in business. However, this is not going to be forever. You're going to have a chapter in your story where you avoided the personal stuff. And the thing that I love about what you shared about the marketing and the promotion is this idea that we could over promote or overshare. I always think about this. There was this one year where
foolishness. It's
foolishness. It's impossible because, and this is why I tell people if we have a conversation about this, because I have helped clients like start businesses or get into sales or, and I'm like, you got to tell people. And here's why. There was one year for my son's football team where I was what they call the athletic director, right? So I was a glorified team mom. So I ran the whole show, right, for the whole season. And I would have to remind people 3 to 5 times a week about their own kids, about their own children. Like, this is what time practice is. This is what they need to bring to practice. This is what time the game is. This is what they need to bring to the game. 3 to 4 messages. If I have to remind people about their own children in this way, you are going to have to remind them at least 5 to 6 times, if not more, that you exist and that your service is really important for them, that it really helps them. Because I can't tell you how many times as mom, I see something in my timeline and I'm like, that would be great for me. I'm going to come back to it. And then I don't screenshot a photo or tag it or whatever. And it's lost in the ethers forever. And because that person didn't promote it a second time or a third time, I have forgotten about said service.
Oh my God, that happened to me and I was pissed. I wanted to go to this retreat. Now, me and my brother are 15 years apart. He's older.
Mm-hmm.
So we both behave as only children.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really live together, right? He changed my diapers for a few years and then he went off to military. So when I was 4, he was 19 and gone. So I have no remembrance of ever living with my brother. You hear me? Okay. I don't live with people well because I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
My mom divorced my dad when I was 2. So I remember growing up with my mom. My mom is very introverted, very quiet, very shy, very meek. Okay. My mom is not loud. She don't invite people over. She stays to herself. So we stayed to ourselves. I'm used to going to bed and the house being silent. We don't have pets, we don't have cats, we don't have small kids. So for me to want to go to your retreat and live in a mansion with you where it's going to be people in and out, opening doors, and opening cabinets and flushing toilets and stuff, I got to really like you because I'm not accustomed to that because I didn't grow up like that. That's jarring to me. You see what I mean?
Yes.
I wanted to go to this woman's retreat. She posted about it once and they never posted about it again. And then I see photos from the retreat and I'm like, wait, I did want to go to that thing. So I messaged her and I was like, why did you barely promote this? I don't know what you mean. No, ma'am. I went on your page and you posted this like 2 times in a 6-month period. I would have gone. I would have loved if you would have gone. Then why didn't you invite me? Well, I didn't think you would come. Why did you think that? Well, because you're an introvert. I've been to retreats before. You made the decision for me to not come. That's what you're saying. You're saying you didn't want me to come. No, I would have loved for you to come, but you didn't want me to come. You'd already decided I wasn't a good fit because I was an introvert. No. Then why didn't you invite me? Well, I didn't want to be pushy. So you didn't want to help me do something I wanted to do?
Yes.
Well, if you wanted to do, why didn't you join? I forgot. You didn't post it. And this happens all the time. I can't tell you how many people DM me and talk about folding their businesses and closing their businesses because it didn't make money. And then I go on their page and their website and their inquiry form and there's nothing. It's like you didn't do your If I go out of business, I'm going down swinging. I'm going down asking for money every single day. That way, if I close up, won't nobody be able to say, if Natalie had only asked me for money, I would have helped her keep her business open. The
Wow.
only thing y'all will be able to say is, that's unfortunate. It looked like she was going really well, but I didn't buy anything that time that she asked me. So I guess I have nothing to say. That's the only thing people would be. Nobody online in good faith could say, I don't even know what Natalie sells. I've never seen her post an offer. But a lot of people go out of business. That's what I find myself thinking. Now, what exactly was your business, sis? Because I cannot recall.
Yeah.
So they give up on themselves before. It's almost like a rejection coping mechanism.
Yes.
To reject you before you reject me. But I'm just always shocked. And it's like, honey, it takes a lot of promo for live events. Way more promo than people think. We won't get down in that rabbit hole. But just know, if you're having a live event, one post a week ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
So if that's your style, then you might want to hire somebody to do that marketing for you, or not have the event. Hire Katie.
We'll work through your visibility, why you want to hide, why you won't take up
Katie,
space.
and like work through that first. But I was sick because I actually wanted to go. And I'll tell you the truth. Right now, I can't even remember her name.
Wow.
Because I can't tell you when the last time I seen her post. Like, it just, and we have a lot of ego. We think that people remember us and that they know all about us. People are selfish. They think about themselves. Like you just said, these folks can't remember their own kids' football skills. All of a sudden, they're supposed to remember me. I can't tell you how many posts I've seen where somebody might say, I'm looking for this kind of expert, and I can't recall someone's name. I can see their face. And I can remember the post, but I can't come up with their name or the name of their business because they aren't visible enough on a consistent basis. It takes hundreds of touches to get embedded in somebody's long-term memory. If you're not there yet, you're in their short-term. And people's short-term memory gets refreshed every day, every couple of hours, every week. If you're not doing enough, like, I'm in people's long-term memory now, because people are like, no, Nat's been doing this for years.
Yes.
Nat's been showing up for years. I remember Natalie. Ain't nobody forgetting my name. It took years to get to that point, though.
Yes.
You can't just assume I posted one time, so that was enough, and Facebook's going to show everybody who I want to buy my post. That's not realistic. I think sometimes we're just a little more self-absorbed than we would like to admit. Again, your business is not for you, it's for them. And most of my clients are neurodivergent. They're either OCD or they have ADHD. Some of them are on the autism spectrum. I mean, my husband's on the autism spectrum. His short-term memory, his executive function, it's going to vary from day to day. And it's going to vary from minute to minute or hour to hour. If he's hyper-focused on something, he's absolutely not listening to me, regardless of how important it is. And so it's ridiculous for me to assume that on the other end is a neurotypical person who has their credit card in their hand, who is ready to buy, who is thinking about me, who is scrolling Facebook at the exact time that I posted, who's going to stop breastfeeding their child, stop cooking dinner, stop their Zoom call, stop their podcast recording, and immediately purchase exactly what I want them the very first time that I post something. That is an insane assumption. But it's an assumption that a lot of people, they might not consciously believe it, but internally, I think they believe it. And wealth happens the same way. There's people who think, I'm just going to get older and I'm going to follow the rules. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to invest when I'm ready. And I'll just be rich eventually. And it's like, poor is the default in the United States. If you do nothing, you'll be poor. That's the default state. Just like with health. If you do nothing, you'll be overweight. Because the standard American diet has no nutrient. Right? If you do nothing, you'll be fit is not the default. Well, rich is not the default either. You have to actively work at becoming a wealthy person, at becoming a rich person. It's not, come on, we're minorities. It's not gonna just happen for us. We're not just gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm a Hilton now. I'm rich.
Yes.
We have to take action. You're doing yourself a disservice to think there's nothing I have to do to make this happen. I'm just going to be myself and I'm just going to help people. And one day the magical money is just going to rain out the sky. Like, baby, it's not Magic City. The money is not going to rain.
But I think that some women and like, look, guilty as charged, especially in my 20s, but like thinking that there is something that's going to come, I don't know, like some magical anointing that's going to happen at some point and it's just going to click and you're going to figure it out and you're going to be saved. And it's like this greater awareness that you actually have to claim it. You actually have got to go get it. And that's okay as a woman. You can still be feminine and have that energy around this is mine. And not only is that to me like very feminine, but it's also very attractive. It's very magnetic and it's a part of your divine birthright for you to claim it. But part of free will is that taking up that space and being like, this is mine, this is for me. And I really hear that automatically in your language so much when you talk about yourself and your business. Like, why wouldn't I pay me first? I'm the leader. This doesn't make sense. And so I'm really praying that people are hearing this and letting it sink into their brains because it's a mind frame. It's a mental map.
They've been taught that. They've been taught to put everyone before themselves, their parents, their spouse, their children, everybody, their clients. They're always last. So I get where that comes from. It's just not realistic. And being a CEO is a new identity. So just like when I got married, that's a new identity. Wife Natalie is not single Natalie. Wife Natalie does things and makes choices that allows her to stay a wife.
Wife Natalie. Yes.
Because if wife Natalie does what single Natalie did, then wife Natalie will be single Natalie.
Divorced Natalie.
That's how that happens. So if you're a CEO, you can't just default back to like you can't just be like, well, I'm mom Katie. No, you're gonna be CEO Katie now. Like that's a different person because that person has to be concerned about the well-being of an entire financial ecosystem. Your business is an asset. And that's the conversation I never hear women talking about. You listen to these men on podcasts, they talk about how their business is an asset and how they intend to sell it or grow it or scale it or change it or leverage it or borrow from it. They're always they talk about it like it's a separate entity. And women tend to talk about their business like it's a baby.
Yes.
It's something that they birthed and held and love and need. It wants them. And they use their business as a shield for like personal development. I have low self-esteem, so let me start this business and I'll blah, 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 blah. Stop it. No. You are a CEO. You are worthy right now. I don't care how much money your business makes. If you're on day 1 or day 10,000, you've got to decide, is this an asset that's going to benefit my family? Because if it's not, you could work a job and have 10% of the stress, 1% of the responsibility, and 3 times the pay. It only makes sense if it gets you something in the end. If you don't ever get rich, if you can't ever take time off, if you can't hire your kids or pay for their college, if you can't take your husband on trips or take your partner on trips, if you can't do the things you set out to do, what was the purpose of the business? Who did it really serve? And you might say, well, Natalie, it's not about me. It's to serve my clients. Wouldn't your clients be better served if you were happier? Wouldn't your clients be better served if you didn't have to take a sabbatical every year because you were burnt out? Wouldn't your clients be better off if you could actually remember who they were in between calls because you weren't so frazzled? Wouldn't your clients be better off if you could hire some team, if you actually had enough profit to hire people? Like we need to stop pretending like we're opening a business as a public service.
Yeah.
It's
like a nonprofit.
And guess what? I'm gonna tell the girlies a secret. Nonprofits raise more money than a lot of these for-profits. You ain't never met a salesperson like a fundraiser. If you listen to this right now and you've been a fundraiser for more than 3 years and you want a job, slide in my DMs. I'll hire you to be a salesperson. Okay. You ain't never met a salesperson like a damn fundraiser. Somebody who picking up the phone, making cold calls on Christmas Eve, talking about, don't you want to get a tax break? I found out that like 70% of all donations are made in Q4 and that like 90% of those are made in December. And like half of those are made between Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so, that last week of the year.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So I didn't know that until I started coaching people who run nonprofits or people who sell to nonprofits until I got adjacent. and they are bulldogs. So, people say nonprofit kind of jokingly, if they only knew. Nonprofits talk about money more than for-profits do. They have a whole board of directors, all they care about. They are so money driven because without the money, none of the mission happens. They actually have a much healthier mindset, I have found, around money. Shockingly, the nonprofits will put most of these for-profits to shame.
For sure.
They will sell their butts off, and they can get money from the person who's not the recipient. So like if I want to sell you a purse, well, you get the purse. You get the feeling of owning the purse. You get the compliments from the purse. So it's not hard for me to get you to give me money. Imagine if I tried to get you to give me money to buy someone else a purse. That's a sales.
It's a different game.
That's a different game. That's a real damn salesperson. Okay. So we have to be careful with treating our businesses as though they aren't a vehicle to move ourselves forward. It's not selfish for you to want your life to be improved as a byproduct of the work that you do. Because again, you would hold your boss to that standard. If you worked a crappy job, you would demand a raise, PTO, tuition reimbursement. Start demanding the same things of your own business that you would demand of another company. If you on a job site and you see a whole benefits package, that's what you should have. You can have that. You don't have to wait to work for someone else to have benefits in your own company. It only takes capital. That's all it takes. You just need enough money and a great financial partner. I have a great CFO. I have I do my own financial advising because I've been a licensed financial advisor. So I do my own financial planning, but I have a great accountant, tax preparer, CFO who's honest. Hey, if you make X, you can do Y. And I'm like, great, I want to do Y. Let's look at what I need to do to make it happen. Does it always work? No. Can you make people pay you? I wish. But you can put yourself out there and make opportunities. I was able to pull in $6,500 extra on September 30th because it was the end of the month and the end of the quarter. And all I did was send one email and make one post letting people know this is how they can work with me. I'll make it worth their while the end of the quarter. That's $6,500 I would not have made. I mean, those people would not have purchased, maybe ever, but definitely not that day, had I not done it. So is it really that we don't have the capacity, or is it that we're too afraid? I have people slide my DMs. I could never do that. I would never go online and say that I'm $3,000 short of my sales goal. And I was like, oh, okay. So you would just go to sleep and not hit your sales goal. How does that make you better than me? Right? So what people think is a flex.
Like, people call me when your trophy arrives, okay?
It's like, okay, well, like, do you want like a hug? I don't know what people want from that, but all I could think to myself was, "Whoo, that's great." The month was a little slow because of my sabbatical. Now we're back on track, and now we can do these things because I really want to hire somebody. That's on my very short list. And unlike a lot of people, I don't want to hire you if I can't pay you a real wage. That's commensurate with the amount of work that you're doing. And I don't want to hire you if I can only pay you for 1 month and then I got to lay you off. So if I can't pay you for at least 6 months, then I won't bring you on my team. Because I think that's about the break-even point of how you know that your hire worked and it's working out long term. If you can make it 6 months, you can make it 10 years. That's how I feel. But in the meantime, I need to make sure you can get paid. So I felt good thinking, man, I'm getting closer to that person I want to hire. I think we have to believe that we're worthy and that we're capable, despite maybe not having the business acumen or the chops that we think we need to have in order to be able to move forward in our businesses.
I mean, that belief, that the knowing that you can and knowing that you are capable, because I hear you share the story of I was $3,000 short for my, quarterly goal. And then I made the ask and then 6,500 came in. And I think some people are going to hear that and they're going to think it's like magical, like they can just make a post, and then that money's going to show up. I want to put context.
All the time.
Oh my gosh. I want to put context to this because the reason I'm still aware of who Nat is is because this woman has been posting so consistently. And I'm talking about not consistently like one time a week. I'm talking about consistently like 3 to 4 times a day for the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. And there is an authority. I know that she knows what she's talking about because through her content showing up on my feed, I know that she's a financial advisor. She's licensed as a financial advisor. She's got her 10,000 hours in before she even started the business. That was in. There is the educational process that happens as a result of sharing your content so consistently and so frequently in an online space, even if it was just Facebook, because I think I just started following you on Instagram, after I made the
IG
request,
is just like a place for people. Like if you're on IG, I don't want you to be like, ew, she doesn't even have an IG. And somehow I have like 5,000 followers, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is anyone following me on Instagram? I don't use Instagram.
Well, I think people are really hungry, and I'm going to speak for the people. People are really hungry for the energetic that you hold around money as a woman.
I see. I hope they keep that same energy for my launch. When I launch Birthright, I hope people are like, yes, that's the energy. Yes. I need to buy into it.
Tell us about Birthright.
I'm so excited about it. I declare that Birthright will be the last money mindset program an entrepreneur needs to buy.
Amen.
That is my objective. It's what I went into it with, and that's what I'm rocking with. It's great for 3 reasons. One, it's great because it has real curriculum. I find that a lot of times programs are built on vibes. You kind of show up live and you get what you get, and if you don't get it, you just don't get it. And so I'm proud that my program is going to have a core curriculum, pre-recorded videos, exercises, meditations, affirmations, somatic exercises to regulate your nervous system that people can keep forever. So even if you only pay for 1 quarter, you get to keep that core curriculum for life. So I'm proud to have a real science-backed, vetted by a curriculum designer curriculum around if you charge too little or you play too small or you feel greedy when you think about money, like overcoming the common things that trip people up. 2, I feel proud about it because of the community. So there's a really short application, but you won't just be able to go to a page and just buy it. Mm-hmm. You will need to be vetted, and I need to make sure you're sane. I need to know what you've already tried, and I need to know where you're stuck so I can help and make sure we tailor that experience for you. I don't know about you, but if I have a $20,000 launch, I'm not safe telling that to everybody. There's people I can't tell that to. If I make a bad hire and my employee steals $10,000 from me, I can't tell everybody that. I need a safe to be able to talk through these ups and downs. Who can you tell that you just opened your first brokerage account? I had a client who came to me who her brokerage account just hit 100,000.
That's amazing.
And I asked her, and I'm not her financial advisor, just her wealth coach. Let's just point that out that but she was going to pull all her money out the market because she was so afraid of it. So that's why the win was so big, and I've had friends and peers do it, but having a client do it was different. I was like, almost 24,000 of it was gains, meaning she only put in 76,000 of that, and all the rest of it was free money from the passive lottery machine. Is like people like to pretend of the stock market. So having community that's vetted, that is safe, is going to be huge. And then the third thing that I'm in love with about it is the calls. We're actually going to talk about what happened when you went through these exercises. Most of us have never been asked deep, intuitive questions to question how we feel about money. Like if I were to sit here and ask you and go, when you were younger, were you taught that certain groups of people had more money than other groups?
Yep.
Do you resonate with either group that stereotype was attached to? How do you think that affects you now as a member of that group, or maybe not as a member of that group, And people don't analyze those things. They know that the results. So people know, man, I charge too little. I know I should raise my prices. I know I should raise them, but I feel afraid. But they don't know why. They haven't been able to investigate the root that causes that issue. You get more intuitive, you get more information, you can start to isolate what it is that's causing this problem so you can actually eliminate it. So that way you don't just have me going, girl, just double your prices. Because that's what a lot of the gurus do. Just charge more, charge more. That's also why we've fallen off of a high ticket cliff and the bubble has burst. And now people are realizing, I can't just charge $27,500 for a 27 7-minute VIP day. Damn, I guess I have no clients left. There are people who made $1 million in 2021, 2022 who are going out of business because their system was never rooted in fact, data, or economics. It was all vibes, woo, feelings, and feminine energy. And now you really got to have some substance and a reason, a declaration, a mission, a brand voice. It's way more than just, I put a number on my website and you're going to pay it.
Yep.
I'm super excited about Birthright, and it's going to be on the evergreen enrollment, which I've never done before. Meaning you can apply whenever, and we will accept people like 1 week of the year, of the month to like for orientation.
Sure.
Not crazy, but it won't give that stress. How many times have we bought something because the cart was closing today?
Yeah.
Like, I can fully admit I'm a cart close buyer.
Yeah.
I get activated and I feel like you're not going to do it again. And some of these programs, they don't do again. I've literally been in the last cohort of like 3 different programs. So I don't think people are bluffing. It's just, that's a bad energy to purchase from. So I don't want to create that energy for people. I don't want people to have to come up with $5,000 for the year or $1,500 for the quarter with 2 days notice.
Yeah.
There's a guy doing a VIP day a couple weeks from now. It's $4,500. I would love to join it, but I have not budgeted that for October.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a number that I feel comfortable with based on the other investments that I've already committed to for Q4. So I would have to go out in a rush, in a frenzy, and try to create $4,500 to give him $4,500. Why? Right? But if he had given me some notice, 2 weeks, 2 months, I could have made it happen. So I want to be able to model that for my clients and go, if now is not the right time, meet with your accountant, meet with your bookkeeper, meet with your financial advisor, put my program on the list of investments and work it in when it's financially feasible. And I think that's so responsible, and it's so ethical. It's so Natalie. And I'm just so proud to have something that's not going to foist people into, oh my God, Natalie has an offer, I have to buy it. Like, they can buy responsibly. So I feel great about launching a great program at a great price point in an ethical manner. Really proud.
With integrity. That's amazing. I'm so excited.
And I won't make as much money as the doomsday launchers, but that's okay, because I think I'll retain people longer. And I think the quality of people that I get that will apply will be better. And I know it sounds weird. I kind of like the programs at the beginning when they're small. I feel like sometimes you get these mega programs and you get lost. You get 2,500 people and you're in the shuffle. But when you got a small group, 8, 10, 12 people, you can really do hot seats and you can go deep and you can get insight from all other people. And I attract the best folks. My folks are not grifters. They're not charlatans. I'm usually the least educated person in the room, and I have an MBA. Like, my folks have MD and JD. They've been ICF certified. Like, my folks are phenomenal. They're genius. I'm so excited about having this little clique of geniuses. And we talk about all the things that are keeping them from having the kind of relationship with money that they deserve. If we talk to our children how we talk to our money, if we talk to our partners the way we talk to our money, we'd be so single. And I don't think people know what that rhetoric sounds like, but you meet people who hate their money. They don't trust it. They don't feel like it's worthwhile. They're like, money is never around. It's scarce and it only shows up when it needs to. And I've been broke before and you let me down and I've had to file bankruptcy. And, when I needed you for this medication, you weren't here. And when I needed to go on a trip, and the debt and the interest, like, there's such a negative purview. It's like, what would happen if you talk to your money the way you talk to your loved ones, your friends that you care about? How could that shift things for you if you truly believe that money was on your side and it's waiting on you to show up and do what you need to do? I think if money could actually talk back to us, it would have some things to say. And I don't think that would always be pleasant things either. I think money wants us to do better. So I'm excited about opening a dialogue where we can get real and admit that some of it's us. Some of it's not the marketplace. Some of it's not the economy. Some of it's not the election. Some of it's not inflation. Some of it's us.
Yeah, I would say a
What
lot
we
of it's
need to
us.
do. A
You
lot of
know,
it's us. So
one of my favorite things that my husband says, and I've said this on the podcast probably, money has never stood up and punched you in the face.
I love that.
Money is only ever moved by people. You're the people. We are the people, that are either showing up to get the money to move or not showing up so no money's moving, and that's what I hear you speaking to in this. And I'm so excited for this program. And I love that people got to hear you speak because there's so much mindset goodness in this episode, even if you just listen to how Natalie speaks, how she frames herself within the context of her life, within the context of money and business. There's so many nuggets in this episode that I am really grateful for. So thank you for who you be in the world, your generosity in giving us this wisdom and this inspiration and really the actionables. If you want more of Natalie, go to unapologeticwealth.com. She's got case studies on her website that you can read through. There is a private podcast you can invest in if you want to start learning immediately.
It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. The podcast is the genesis. The podcast is called Birthright too. So now we have both. It's just the continuation. And if you want to hear me fuss at you for 5 minutes, Monday through Friday for a year, it's 260 episodes because I'm crazy. So I committed to 260 from the jump.
You're not crazy. You're wise. You understand the laws of this universe. That's what it is. Now you're not crazy.
Maybe
you just play by the rules of the universe.
It felt crazy at the time. My coach was like, I'm sorry. How many episodes is it? And I was like, it's Monday through Friday for a year. And she was like, have you done the math on the number of episodes it is? And I was like, nope, not for a second. But I've already sold it. So that's what we're going to get.
There it is.
Halfway through it, I was like, this was a horrible idea. But now that it ended, I was sad. I was sad that it ended. And I said, you know what? I need to get this back going. And my marketing consultant was like, this really should be more than a podcast. People really need coaching around this. Listening is great, but there needs to be a two-way communication to really break people out of patterns that they've been holding for decades. That's not going to shift in a 5-minute podcast. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And it's terrifying to move out of sales because that's what people know me for. But I think this is going to be the big one. I feel like this is going to be that flagship thing that I'm known for 5 years from now. People will be like, like B School or something. People are like, Bullen with Birthright. Yeah, I know her. So that's what I'm gearing up towards. That's my vision, is that I get to be known for this one thing. And I think this is the one thing.
Yep. I see it. And I'm telling everybody to get on this Nat train before it gets real big and becomes a private jet. Okay. So.
Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, gee. I tell you, my overnight success has taken, we're coming up on 11 years. Yeah. So I'm excited because I'm like, that's what my OBM tells me. She's just like, you're going to be famous. And
for sure.
All these people who drug their feet or didn't act or said you were too expensive and didn't buy, won't even be able to reach you. You're going to have a bot in your DMs. And I was like, ew, I like answering my DMs.
I know, right? I don't want to bot my DMs.
I don't. This was fun. I'm honored that you let me come onto your podcast.
Thank you. As we complete this episode, I would love to know your insights, takeaways, and feedback. You can message me on Instagram at Katie Lynn Rojano or send them via email to katie@katielynnrojano.com. Any products or digital downloads I mentioned can be found via the link in my Instagram bio. If you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to share it with at least one friend and leave a 5-star review so we can get these impactful dialogues into the lives of even more people. I would also like to thank my guest for their vulnerability and generosity in allowing us to learn from them and grow alongside them. Until next time, friends, let's go beyond.